It was called an operation that they did to us a couple years ago. And could it have been an anagram all along with a hidden meaning? And does it relate perhaps to the V word? We will be exploring that this evening. Also, we've got two eclipses that are coming together. One going through many towns of Nineveh.
Operation
and
that they did to us
not
a couple
too
years
long ago, we
It could
had
have been an anagram
one in
along with a hidden meaning.
2017 that went through many towns of Salem, as in Jerusalem. Is there a connection between these two eclipses? 7 Ninevehs and 7 Salems, and 7 brides for 7 brothers? We'll find out tonight. And then we've got eclipse tips. Eclipse tips? Is that a new thing? I mean, why do we need tips on the eclipse? It rhymes all the times, but what are these eclipse tips that we have to be following this time around? And then we've got this fine gentleman here who... I guess it's a bit like Ebenezer Scrooge, perhaps, how people are feeling about his passing. Of course, we never want a soul to pass, but sometimes there is rejoicing when they are doing particularly evil things. So what does this mean for all of us, and what do the numbers say? Also, is there a secret covenant of the nutties that we should be aware of? And has it been in the name all along? The hidden meanings are always there, aren't they? And then we've got the 6 seals that have appeared in Matthew 24. Was Jesus already foreshadowing the first 4 seals, I should say, of Revelation 6? Something to consider there. The firmament is something that we find in the Bible, and also we find it in a commercial that came out not too long ago from a company called Hennessy. This was the first man to observe. They want to claim that this is what he observed, but when you actually see the quote, you'll find out he describes the earth much differently than the way they want to sell it to you, if you will. And we'll check that out a little bit as well. Also, there was this skit back in in 2004 about Mr. T and the Prince and the Pauper. You might be familiar with that story where they trade places and the Prince becomes the Pauper and the Pauper the Prince. And in there, it talks about him becoming the Prince. He also is very violent in the way he handles the Pauper, having him of the cute of the id. And then he talks about being in control as the perhaps Dark Prince. Is that what we're talking about? And then we've got E-T-T-T's phoning home. What does this mean? That they're showing up in Congress this past, just a couple months ago? Something to consider there. And then there's the curious case of Ed of the McMahon, the Mandela effect. Did he work for Publishers Clearinghouse, or was it another company? People are a little confused on that one. Kind of an interesting Mandela effect situation here. And then we've got these drones happening that you may remember this from Star Wars, where the spy drones were searching for the droids, and they're kind of floating around and landing. Well, they've invented one of those, and it can float around and land, and roll. So something to consider, almost a combination of that Star Wars movie and the one where they had the rolling droids in the prequels. And then there's some claimed alien footage, and we may explore that as well to see if there's any validity to any of this. And then poor Bert and Ernie. Is nothing sacred? Big Bird 2? Supposedly coming out of their closet? What does this mean? And all this and more we will explore today. If you're just joining us, we hope that you will join us in the fellowship. That's the best place to be for this live event. If you happen to be on YouTube, that's okay, but it's much preferred you come and join us at Macau Ministries, because then you can actually talk to us. You can actually engage in the conversation here tonight, and we have quite a conversation. We also have lots of events going on here every day of the week. Tomorrow night we'll be having Bible Q&A. So any questions you have on the Bible, come and ask them tomorrow night, and we will help answer those questions for you. Wednesday night, we have a time of confession, of overcoming our sins, confession and prayer, and then we've got open fellowship as well. And then Thursday night, we have discipleship training. If you want to be a disciple of Christ and help make disciples, this is the place to do it. Aren't a lot of places that do it. So encourage you to come by here and find out what it means to be a true disciple of Christ, a Christian, as the Bible defines. And then Friday night, night we have Bible trivia, which is a lot of fun, and we just hang out and learn a lot about the Bible as we answer questions together. It's non-competitive, so it's everybody's a winner. So come and join us for that. Saturday we have Bible study at noon as well. We're doing the Beatitudes right now, and we may pick up on Ezekiel again, and then we have Saturday night movie nights, and then we're back to Sunday service at noon, and then here we are at Sunday Night Live. So it's good to be with you guys today. How's everybody doing out there? Woohoo! All right.
Doing great.
Doing good? All right. You guys ready to talk about what's going on in the world here?
It's a crazy
Does that sound
world
fun?
right now.
It's Clown World.
It's Clown World. Welcome to Clown World. So, some interesting things. So operation, and I won't say the rest of this term here, but kind of intriguing. I was playing around with this a little bit, and came up with a few different possibilities of what this could be. Now, the first one that's been kind of going around is prepared a poisoned tea. Or prepare a poisoned tea, or depending on how you want to put, where you want to put that D. But that's one way to rephrase this. That it's really a poison that is being has been prepared for us, which makes a lot of sense. That sounds about right. And so that may be where they're getting that. We've also heard the war. W-A to the R of the seed. And we've heard that term before. And then prepared. Now I looked at a couple other ones here. I said, well, what about the W? Is there something with the W? Because we're missing the W there. So I looked up a couple things here. And TW. Well, first of all, let me show you this. The first one I looked at was TD or DT. I said, well, is there any connection with that? And I looked this up here. And if you look up under the V word here, which I won't say, but DT comes up, and NTD both come up there, and but this one specifically under the V word here, and it seems to be related to the tetanus of the diphtheria that we often get. Now, it could be saying that we're getting a new, that's sort of like a standard one that everybody gets. So maybe they're implying it's a standard thing that everybody's going to get, similar to that application, if you will. So something is kind of intriguing. And then there was a guy, like one of them was Ted, and there was actually a guy named Ted who's the head of the N to the I to the H. It's a head of their lab here. So, which I could probably pull up here. I think I have it here somewhere. Maybe it's this one. But he's actually the head there. And let me see if I can bring it up here. So I don't know if it has anything to do. Of course, we're familiar with TED Talks as well. But I don't know if it has anything to do with this guy who's heading everything up. This guy here. And then there was also...
Who's that? Oh, I see.
Can you see it there?
Oh.
So I don't know if it has anything to do with this guy. Then there's also, since he's the director, but there's also TW, which was wondering if it had anything to do with Taiwan, or perhaps W is for the Wu of the Han, perhaps is what the W is doing in there. So, I don't know. Any thoughts on this? Kind of intriguing, just to kind of kick us off.
Well, the DT, the obvious would be Mr. T.
And then there's Mr. T, of course, right? And he was the one who instituted the operation, right? And he's so proud of it, even to this day, right? As far as I know, has he yet to condemn himself on that? I don't think so, right? He's still pretty adamant that it was a wonderful thing that he did. So, so that's something to consider as well. And then the idea of it being a tea, I was thinking like drinking tea, like tea time. Maybe there's the British influence there. But we'll give you the poison tea, sweetie. So that's kind of interesting too. And I know I made a mess of it, but I basically was connecting all the letters just to make sure all the letters were covered in that phrase. So okay, well, something to consider there. And when I found that DT was related to the V word, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. TD. I thought that was kind of intriguing. I don't know what this one is, the TD. So I thought that was kind of intriguing. And Cool. Other thoughts? What's on your mind
The
tonight?
one above where it says aviation D/T,
Yeah.
that's in law enforcement.
Mm.
Like, I can see where those two things together could become a thing.
That's true. Yeah. Could be a combined thing. I know it can be short for detective too. So, but
Click on that other one that the capital T. Wait, go back.
which one?
One that you clicked on first.
This TD.
Yeah, click that real quick. I was gonna see. Oh, Marx.
There's the Marxist thing in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. And I know they're doing they say they're doing research there right now, so that's interesting.
Okay. Okay.
So they say.
All right. What else? What else are you guys thinking about tonight? What topics are on your mind?
3 minutes ago, an alien was revealed by Congress.
I know that's the article you sent to me. I love how it says 3 minutes ago. Like 3 minutes ago from when?
From right now.
From right this
Every
second.
3 minutes it happens.
Whenever you read this, it'll automatically be 3 minutes from this time.
Cutting edge news.
Yeah, so we can take a look at that. The alien life forms. So yes,
I put a picture in the chat.
they did present something in Congress. Let's see. I don't know if I have it here. I mean, there's this footage that came up, but I think it was the Mexican Congress in November presented what they claimed to be bodies of the alien of the ins. And here's also some footage that they claim is real, though it looks more like they're in a puppet shop when you look at the background. But that's something to consider as well here. So that's kind of intriguing. As always, they always play with us with the alien stuff. So I don't know. Did I do the I don't know if I had the Congress article up here. I thought I had it up here. But okay. So yeah. So aliens. They're keeping the alien thing hot so that they're ready for the alien cover up when it happens. So that.
And it looks more fake than ever.
Yeah, it does, right? It's like
it's just crazy.
E.T. looked more real than this. I think his nostrils don't even go all the way in. It's just kind of like shallow, hollow things there. So
there was an article about a Ukrainian soldier that I think they filmed some UFO that was like supposedly as big as the Empire State Building.
UFO activity.
Yeah, Ukrainian soldier.
Ukrainian. Everything happens in Ukrainian.
Yep.
UFO.
Ukraine.
They spot a mysterious. This is 3 days ago. They spotted a mysterious UFO-shaped object in the sky.
UFO. That's it. It was an UFO.
It was an UFO. That's what they call it. Interesting. I'll just kind of chop through this a little bit. You can kind of see it there. I don't know if you guys can see it there very well, but it's sort of like a little saucer. Kind of looks like a saucer. It's not. Not done. Oh yeah, that looks kind of like a flat. So you said bigger than the Empire State Building? Is that what you said? Oh, there it is. Like a cigar shape. Remember they say cigar shaped object. Now, is this the pillar of cloud that that we saw in the Old Testament? The pillar of cloud and pillar of fire. This idea that the Israelites followed. Well, not an idea. I mean, they followed a pillar of cloud, a pillar of fire from the Lord. But is there any connection, I guess, between these two? Something to think about, because we do often hear that cigar-shaped term, and that does look kind of cigar-shaped there. But I don't know if that's just because of the angle you're seeing it. Maybe it's really a saucer, and you're just seeing it at that angle. So I don't know if that's what it is. But that's kind of interesting. And if you guys can keep an eye on the YouTube chat too, in case people have some questions on YouTube, we can try to answer those also.
Don't they call those the Tic Tacs?
Tic Tacs and Patty Wax.
Yeah. I think they're called the Tic Tacs.
All right. Would you like a Tic Tac? That's what they offer each other while they're watching it. It's like a good commercial for a Tic Tac. Hey, would you like a Tic Tac while we
Exactly.
watch this? Could be. Tic Tacs and Patty Wax. And how about the facts that don't lax? That the fact that there's 8 cities now of Nineveh, right? That we talked about last time, and then previously there were 7 cities of Salem. So that's kind of interesting too, right? Because we know Salem is the original name of Jerusalem. Back in the time of Melchizedek, Jesus is a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. And Melchizedek was both king and priest, and Abraham offered him a tithe or 10% of the bounty that they had taken. And so you had all these Salems in 2017, and now we've got all these Ninevehs happening. Is there anything significance here? Connecting the two. Okay, I'll let you ponder
I have a couple
that.
questions in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ronald Elmore, he's talking about, you remember when you did that video, we kind of covered the watches and the time, how they're all set to the same time.
The watches and the time are set to the same time. Oh, kind of like in a watch store or a clock or Back to the Future? Or
Are you talking about how all the commercials and all the watches are displayed at 10:09?
Oh, yeah. I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, and the time.
So
and what was that time? Yeah, for like ads and things like that. The watch ads.
It's 10:09.
Right.
10:09. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that question.
10:09. 10:09 dis. Okay.
He's
Let's
saying
see.
he watched a video linking it to the Free of the May of the Suns, and
I
he
love the way you
can't
put that.
find it.
Oh, here it is.
Anyway,
Oh, he's trying to find a video that video that I did. Is that what
well,
he's
I'm
asking?
wondering if maybe we can send him the video you did, because he can't find the one that he's talking about.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
know we covered it.
Yeah, we did.
Um,
Here's an
I
example.
wrote that down.
Here's an example. So as you can
Down.
see, most of these clocks, not all of them, but a good majority of them are set to 10:09, which is kind of an odd time. Maybe it looks good, maybe because it has a V shape or it has an X in the middle, or maybe because it kind of looks like, if you think of the square and the circle drawer, as I'll call it, that they use for the Free to the May to the Suns. That's what you're talking about, right? That it kind of has that shape, or the corner of a pyramid a little bit. Or is there something? What is it about that time, 10:09? Is there significance to that? That's something to consider there. Let's scroll down here a little bit. Let's see if we see a few more. So 10:09. Let me just. In fact, I won't even look up. I looked up watch time. Let's just look up a watch. Like if you just want to look up watches, and just you're not even looking for the time, and they're all kind of set to that same time. You see? They're all like.
I just typed in
this
Google
one.
Apple Watch 10:09 and then I put it in the chat because that's what they display on all of their stuff.
Yeah. Now this one's more like almost 10:10 there, but maybe they didn't get the memo. Oh, it looks like everybody's doing. Oh, here's 10:09. See 10:09 from the digital watch. 10:09. So yeah, that is curious. And what were we saying about that before? I can't remember what all the connections we made about it, but I know we were making a lot. Let me see if I can look up. I kind of want to see what Bible Hub says about 10:09, and see if there's anything to consider there. Let's take a look here. See what Strong's has to say about this. So Strong's Hebrew is House of God's Ambush. Whoa, that sounds intense. House of God's Ambush. Don't want to be ambushed. And then let's see what this one says in 10:09. 10:09. Botrus. A cluster of grapes. Huh. That kind of reminds me of Revelation 14, where you've got the wine press of God and the grapes of wrath. And so you've got the house of God's ambush and the cluster of grapes. So is that the wine press? Is that the house of God's ambush, where he puts the grapes in there and crushes them, and then it spatters all over his white robe, making it red? talks about that. Is that in Zechariah or where he talks about in the Old Testament how he got his garment red there from that. Wow, that's kind of interesting. So that's 1009 for you, at least in terms of Strong's. But there might also be some other connections.
Isn't there a cluster of stars in Stellarium that I'm going to have to go look?
Yeah, see if you can find it.
I feel like I did at one point, and then I forgot what it was.
Okay, no worries. So let's look at these eclipse tips. Let's see what they got to say. So eclipse tips, guys. Now normally they say, okay, things like don't look at the sun, right? You're going to blind yourself. Those are the eclipse tips I remember. Things like use a cardboard box, cut out a cereal box to look at the eclipse and things like that, but don't look directly at it. But that's not what we're talking about here. This is completely different. They're saying eclipse tips, schedule errands and appointments only. Okay. Now this was put out by, who was this put out by? Let's see. TV 11, like a channel 11 type of thing. So this is like a news bulletin for the eclipse. And so they say schedule of errands and appointments early. Okay. Well, I guess maybe so you can watch the eclipse. Okay. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt here. Okay. Have communication plan with family and friends. Okay. Why do I have to have a communication plan for the eclipse? Like, hey, I plan to talk to you at this time of the eclipse. Okay. Are you ready? Okay. That one's a little odd. Have cash on hand in case of limited internet access. Wait, what? Why would there be limited internet access because of an eclipse? Does that make any sense? Is everything solar powered? What's going on here? Buy necessary groceries and gas. Necessary for what? Like to live? Expect heavy traffic and long lines for local services. Okay, that's a little strange. So, I mean, is this maybe in a town that is hosting the eclipse? Is that maybe what they're getting in here? But it does seem a little extreme. To go to that, I mean, I remember when we had the last eclipse and it wasn't like anything major went down, although, our internet and everything did go down. And I'm trying to think if it was around that time, it did go down in our neighborhood. They kind of turned off the internet and the phones, like all the phones and the internet just stopped working at the same time. Like they were testing things, but I don't know if that was, I don't think that was maybe the same time, but that's the only thing I can think of. It's very strange. Any thoughts on this?
It's almost like a hurricane checklist. Like
right?
Something that you would get being on the coast.
Totally.
And,
What do they-
and then wanting to prepare you for something that's going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are the kind of warnings we get around here for hurricanes and things like that, and make sure you prepare early and put sandbags and board up your windows and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it is a little odd.
And there's some schools that are closing too.
There's some what closing?
Schools.
Schools will be closing for the eclipse?
Uh-huh.
To watch the eclipse? I mean, the eclipse, how long does it last? What is it, 3 hours? 3 hours for the eclipse? Or is it 3 minutes? Wait, am I confusing it? Let's see. Jesus on the cross was 3 hours. Let's see how long the eclipse is. All right, so because
Heinz site in the chat too is talking about how it goes along with the 3 days of darkness, possibly, which is fascinating. When you think about 3 hours, is 3 hours like 3 days?
Let's see.
Anyway,
2024. 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Okay. Is that it? Is that the same one? Hold on a second. April. 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Total solar eclipse, Great American Eclipse. 4 minutes. Okay, so you're telling me I'm supposed to do all this preparation for 4 minutes and 27 seconds worth of time? I mean, what in the world? How could that possibly be something like I need to be concerned about or have an emergency about? If that's what they're talking about, unless there's something else that they're really going to be preparing us for, and that the eclipse is just sort of a timing thing, or a way to get our attention.
They're taking advantage of that. I don't know, maybe 3 days of darkness.
3 days of darkness, perhaps. Could be. It's possible.
Somebody in the chat said, yeah.
An
totally.
EM to the P perhaps will happen at the same time, and they'll try to blame it on the sun. They'll say, oh, there was a solar flare at the same time as the eclipse or something like this.
Well, and I think they're also expecting large crowds in these areas. So the roads are going to be all blocked up, and I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
And the devil comet, don't forget that one is coming
The
too.
devil may drag you under by the sharp lapel around your wretched throat. Okay, I got it. So make sure you repent and be wary. Okay, so eclipse. Beware of the eclipse tips. It rhymes all the times. Eclipse tips. Okay, make sure you have communication plan with family and friends. That sounds kind of serious. Schedule errands. Okay, well keep that in mind. That's intriguing. And then there's this gentleman. What's that?
Predictive programming.
That's right. They're predicting, and we're the programmed. The program world.
There's
Yeah.
another question in the chat too about, I think McDonald's is what she's talking about.
Okay.
Their new logo.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Has the M in McDonald's upside down.
Really?
With Chinese writing on the side.
Really?
I had no idea, so I thought
We must look into
look.
this. Okay, so Chinese of the writing, huh?
That's from Becky. Thanks, Becky.
McDonald's logo change. Let's see. Okay. That's weird. McDonald's logo. You say it's upside down?
Yeah.
Upside down. Whoa. You're not imagining it? The McDonald's logo is upside down? Hold on a second. When was this? Now this is 2018 I'm seeing. Let me see if there's something more recent than that. 7 days ago. Why? They just flipped its golden arches. Whoa, that's weird. What are we to make of this? Is this kind of like an inverted cross kind of thing? I mean, what's going on here?
W.C. Donald's. What is the relation to W.C. Donald's?
W.C. Fields. Get away from me, kid.
I
You're
don't know
bothering me.
why I just thought of the Watchers right away.
The Watchers. W. Huh. The W. That's interesting. Upside down arches. Is this the pit? Are these the pits of hell? What are we supposed to make of these? What could this mean? It says McDonald's is dead. Long live Wick-Donald's. For its latest campaign, McDonald's is temporary. Oh look, they even changed it to Wick-Donald's. It's temporarily swapping its famous golden arches for a W as a nod to the art of manga and anime. The pop culture inspired rebrand, which will debut nationwide on February 26th. So that's just happened, is set to include limited edition packaging, a new sauce, and a series of Wick-Donald's.
What's going on?
Man, does this have to do with Wiccan? Like the Wiccan? Witchcraft?
Or
Whoa.
Wicked.
Wicked
We
Donald's.
just saw that commercial for Wicked too.
Wicked Donald's. Wicked Donald's. Oh, wow. Right. So we've got Wiccan, we've got Wicked, and of course that movie Wicked is coming out too, just in time. Wicked Donald's. Wicked Donald's. Wow, there it is. Now they want to say it's Whack Donald's, but it's also whack, as in crazy. But Wick Donald's, interesting.
Our world control.
Our
Somebody
world is
said
turning upside down. You know,
right.
they said of the disciples in the first century that they turned the world upside down, and that's exactly what's happening here. The world is being turned upside down. Wicked Donald's. Okay, wow. Well, thanks for sharing that. Very interesting.
Yeah. Thanks, Becky.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
That's one to ponder there. And then we've got this.
And then someone just put in the chat the SpongeBob and Patrick, where Patrick turned the M to a W.
Turn the M from McDonald's? Like they're in the commercial or something?
It's not a McDonald's commercial, but they posted it, and I was like, predictive programming.
Totally.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. It was Mermaid Man's belt, and they turned the M around upside down to a W.
Right. Let's see here. Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy, and so that's these two fine characters here. And as you can see on his belt, he's got an M for Mermaid Man, so they turn it upside down. It makes me think of the X, X in Twitter. I don't know why, but kind of a connection there, and even what we're just looking at with the anagram, just changing with letters and messing around with the letters, but turning things upside down.
Oh.
What does that mean?
Or like Mandela.
Transitioning M to a W, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, from a man to a woman. Oh, interesting. How wicked Arnold's of you.
Or like the whole as above, so
as above, so below, the firm of the mints that we want to talk about too.
Right.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. Very intriguing. Okay. Cool, guys. So yeah, that's why I love these discussions. You just, it's like the collective Holy Spirit always reveals these things. Very cool. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So this man has left the planet, so they say. I hate to think where he may be right now, but known as a villain, known as a villain in our times. We'll say can't judge his attorney. Only God can do that. But
when they said he passed, that day I just was like, why did it take me this long to realize that Mr. Burns and the Substance looks like Jacob Rothschild?
Totally. Yeah, you wonder who they based it on. Very interesting. Yes, and that he has all the money and all the power and everything else. So yeah, that's very interesting. So some interesting date connections here, just to kind of tell you, like, what are some of these dates? So basically, from let's see, from Black Thursday, when the crash of the market in 1929, and if you remember, what happened as a result of that is they basically came in and made a deal with all the bankers, to kind of buy up all the debts, and basically supposedly sold this nation into a corporation, and that his family was a big player in that. So that's kind of intriguing that his passing comes exactly 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days following the crash of the stock market of 1929, the famous Black Monday, or Black Thursday, I guess, going into Monday of 1929. So that's interesting.
I think that one of those dates, there was a big eclipse too on August 21st, 2017.
That's right. Yeah, one of them is 666, 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days after. Now they say 6 years, 6 months after crash of 29. Oh, he was born. Okay, just to be clear. I'm like, born. What? Okay, so he was born 6 years, 666 after the stock market crash, and he passed 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days after the Great American Eclipse of 2017, the one where they went through all the towns of Salem. It was 666 when he passed from that. He was 1,666 weeks and 1 day old when Martin Luther King was taken from the earth. And he was 999 months old when the man with the island, who many people went on a jet to, was eliminated as well, at the age of 66 years and 6 months. Okay. Interesting. So, any other thoughts on this one? So I don't know. I guess this is his birthday here, huh? What's this date? What's this 1953 to 2019? What's that? I don't know what these other dates are. 1953. I'm assuming is his birthday. No.
Difference, isn't it? It's the difference. 66 years and 6 months.
66 years and 6 months, right. So what happened between those two dates? So 1936, that's the stock market crash one, I'm guessing. No, that's over here. That's 1929. So 1929 and his birth date. Okay. And then we've got this 999. Oh, I see. That's when that guy who was taken out for the island. Okay, that guy. And then, what's this one? Oh, that's his actual date. Going back to the eclipse. Okay, so I guess we covered them all there. Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. And supposedly Chucky is on his way out too. That's what they claim. So interesting. And supposedly the spouse of William is kind of disappeared from view. Nobody really knows where she is, Kate. And apparently she had some kind of relationship with his cousin or something to that effect. And that guy's missing too, something like that. I don't know if anybody wants to elaborate on that, but it's just what I heard from one of you, actually. So, okay. So there you go. Interesting. And then there's this secret covenant that has been released, basically where they explain all the things that they plan to do, supposedly. The secret covenant of the Nutties. And it says how they would operate to deceive, control, oppress, and destroy humanity. So different elements here that they give in a long explanation of what they want to do to us. But some things to note are it's an illusion. It will be so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane, like us, I guess, those theorists. We will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will work together always and will remain... Let me make this a little bigger, sorry. And will remain bound by secrecy. And elimination will come to anyone who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. The chem of the trails. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. And then we will introduce other ways to aggravate their illness. We will create meta of the sin that will make them sicker and cause other diseases, for which we will create yet more meta of the sin. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. So there you go. Just give you a taste of a secret code that was supposedly written by them, supposedly written by this guy that you just saw here. Some claim that it was him who actually penned this, and there you go. And so he's done his part, I guess, and he's moved on, and we're left picking up the pieces, as we always are. But it's one more reason to turn to the Lord and be saved. Amen. And leave this dark world while we still have a chance. So, any thoughts on this one?
I kind of read. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Carrie.
I was just going to make a funny and just say that according to the Bible and Revelation, it doesn't work out too well for them.
Exactly.
That's right. We read the end of the book.
No, it doesn't.
We know how the story
Already
ends.
read. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and it's so funny that they go out of their way to fulfill it too. You know, you think they'd try to change their future, but it's like they're too addicted to power, I guess, and greed.
Honestly, I think they do. I think they do try, and no matter what they do, prophecy still comes about. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any stopping prophecy, ultimately. Yeah.
Just the way that they kind of have fun with it with the 666, like making patents that are 666 and, kind of naming all these things after the, like they know that they're fulfilling exactly what the Bible says, but they just sort of laugh about it. I just think they're deceived, they're deceived that they somehow think it's not really going to happen like that, or or maybe they think it's always been that way, and that's just and they're just keeping things going. That's the status quo of how things are supposed to be. But some interesting things that Oriana brought up here, and I appreciate everybody who contributed to tonight, because I know a lot of you did. So thank you for contributing your thoughts and input into what we're looking at. But there's some hidden. Not only do they have a secret code of what they're going to do, but there's also some hidden code even in their name. So in Latin, if we take il, lu, and minat, we get he threatens the world. And I'm going to share a couple other ones here with you if I can bring them up. But they seem to have a lot of codes, and I have to see if I can get down there where that is. Let me see if I can get my screen to scroll for me here. Scroll for me, screen. It's not. Let's see if I can get it to go now. Or maybe you can you post some of those images again? Let me see if I can get to them. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I thought it would be easier to do. Okay, here it is. Yeah, because there's a couple other ones I wanted to show you here too that she had shared that I thought were kind of intriguing. Let's see if I can find them here. Oh, here it is. Okay, so there's that one, and let me show you this one. So, and these are all kind of very key words here. So, as you can see there, vac and si and ni means don't let it happen. Okay, and here's another one. You got this one. In and nacu and late means in harm's way. So these are all the Latin meanings. You can do these translations yourself. I was blown away when I did them. I tested them all, and they're all just as you see here. This one really kind of rocked my socks, because I just talked last week about Baal Ensi of the Aga, if you remember.
Do it again. Yep.
And could you believe that that's what it means? Does that not blow your mind right there? Baal
I think I looked that up a
king.
while ago, because on that ad, on one of them, it actually said Baal. It didn't say B-A-L, it said B-A-A-L.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too.
Yeah, it's like, it's right there. It's hidden in plain sight. So when you have all these things happening with children and other issues with that company, when you understand what their name really means, it all kind of makes sense. It's all part of them sacrificing to their god, their false god, of course. And then there's this one. Psi, Enti, and Fic.
That one's funny.
Know that it is fiction. That is pretty hilarious. Yeah, I love that. So very, very funny and very shocking and amazing at the same time. So thanks for sharing those, Ori. And other topics you guys want to get into? I just want to make sure I cover everything you guys want to touch on. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on? It's on your mind? So there's 4 seals, right, in the book of Revelation. And interestingly, Jesus seems to foreshadow each of those 4 seals. And so just kind of want to share this with you briefly. So, in Matthew 24, he says, "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and shall deceive many." And then in Revelation 6, "And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow and a crown that was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer." So it seems like, a correlation perhaps to the false Antichrist there, or the false Christ. And then next Jesus says, "And he shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." And then you go over here to Revelation 6 and the second seal, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given him to sat there upon it to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So very similar there, taking peace from the earth, and wars and rumors of wars. Then you got 7, For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Then you got the third seal, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see, and behold, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat upon him had a pair of balances in his hand, and I heard a pair of balances, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So you've got the famine and the pestilences there, just as Jesus said would happen. Then you've got verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So, that's kind of what we've been going through, it seems, right? The beginning of sorrows. I mean, a lot of these things are happening. There are some places that where bread sells for a day's wage. We're not yet quite there, maybe in the prime countries, but it is interesting that he says this is the beginning of sorrows, and it says when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all the nations for my name's sake. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over a fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So very intriguing kind of connection there between Matthew 24 and Revelation 6. Any thoughts on that?
No, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of fulfilling what Jesus said, right? So then we've got what's known as the firmament. And we were talking about this earlier. And the Hennessy company came out with a commercial recently about the firmament. And basically, it's a very intriguing commercial. It's about this guy, Auguste Piccard. Now, Hennessy, as you know, is an alcohol company, right? So it really has nothing to do with the product. So obviously they were bought off to do a commercial on this because there was no relation to what was in the commercial. But in any case, this man went up famously, I think it was around 1930, thereabouts. He went up in a hot air balloon, in a metal ball tied to a hot air balloon to go as high as he possibly could go. He reached a record altitude of 15,781 feet. During this flight, he became the first human being, or there were him and a guy named Paul Kipfer. During this flight, they were first human beings to enter the stratosphere. Well, they want to call it the stratosphere, but really the first perhaps to hit the firmament, but were able to gather substantial data on the upper atmosphere as well as measure cosmic rays. So in the mid-1930s, Piccard's interest shifted when he realized that a modification of his high-altitude balloon cockpit would allow descent into the deep ocean. Okay, so he goes up in this ball, this silver ball, and I'm going to show you here. Now, when he came down, there was a news article about it, and in this news article, and I'm just going to lift it up for a second. In the lower right, you see that lower right paragraph there at the bottom. You can go look this up for yourself and read it, but it's very hard to see on there, so I'm just going to show you what it actually says. But they did an article, and they quoted him what he saw, and he described what he saw, and this is what he says. He said, they had a leak in the balloon, and it says they plugged it desperately with Vaseline and cotton waste, stopping the leak. In the first half hour, the balloon shot upward 9 miles. Through portholes, the observers saw the Earth through copper-colored, then bluish haze. It seemed a flat disk with upturned edge. Okay, now that's an actual quote from him. It seemed a flat disk with upturned edge. And there's another quote from him. They try to hide this quote. They don't want you to see that one, but there's another quote they quote from him that's kind of similar, where he says it was kind of unexpected what they experienced. Like here, for example, they show this, right? They're trying to say he was the first person to observe the curvature, right? But really, it wasn't the curvature that they're trying to make you think, like a round Earth, like a sphere of an Earth, but actually an upturned edge. That's the curve. It curved up on the edge and was flat, but not round. And so what's interesting, they want to emphasize that, right? So they put it in bold, became the first person to observe the curvature of our planet. And then the next thing it says is his quote, "It seemed a flat disk with upturned edge," he said. So they're trying to deceive you. Most people aren't going to read the article. They're just going to say, "Oh, see, he observed the curvature." So that's what stays in their head. But this is actually what he says. It was a flat disk with an upturned edge, which, if anybody knows the theory of flat Earth is the idea is that Earth is flat in the sense that it's not a round ball, that there's a firmament over it biblically. That's in the Bible, and that the edge would actually be Antarctica, which is the border, right? And it would be upturned because, as you know, in Antarctica there's like this big shelf, this big ice shelf wall that is high and hard. You can't just climb up on it. It's hard to get on top of. And so that's the idea, is that it actually surrounds the Earth. And you can look up maps on that. But isn't that interesting that that's what this guy said? So they did this commercial here, and this was a few years ago, but they did this commercial and they show the firmament in this commercial. Now, biblically, the firmament is where God separated the waters above from the waters below. And so he set the waters above, where essentially what would be the base of heaven, and then we have the waters below, of course, which is our oceans and seas and everything else. So here they show him going up, and you can go watch this for yourself. But this is the commercial. So he's going up in the balloon. They're reenacting what happened here. So he goes up. He starts his journey. Let me just show you this, and he's going higher and higher, and it's flat. As you can see, he looks out the window. It's flat, just as he described. It's still flat. And as you see here in this image, he's in the middle there. It's a little hard to see, but he's the tiny little sphere in the middle. You can see the curve of the firmament coming up from the flat disc that he described with the upturned edge. And then it's coming up. And actually what it is water. And so as he goes up higher and higher, the balloon finally bursts, but he just keeps going, and he actually bursts through. There's an eyeball that appears, which is really interesting. You see the sphere coming over the eyeball, which eyeball, they say, is like a firmament as well, because you've got this dome over your eyeball, but then like a flat surface where your iris is. So he keeps going up, and he actually busts through the water of the firmament. He comes through the water, and he comes up on the other side, plunges through the water, and he comes out. And the next thing you see is like Jacques Cousteau or Jacques Picard, who is like his son, who basically went the opposite direction. And what I was theorizing is the possibility that this too was them trying to break through the firmament. So there's what's known as Operation, and just to kind of finish that out for you. So basically, now they go into the sea. So he basically breaks through. It's the water of the sky. And he winds up in the ocean, which supposedly is what his son then did. But there was an operation that took place back in the 1950s where they tried to break through this firm of the mint, and they called it Operation Fish of the Bowl. And basically, if you think about it, a fish is in a habitat, just like you were like in a habitat like hamsters, and you're in this habitat, and they're trying to break out. The fish are trying to break out of the bowl. And remember, Jesus came to fish men, right? He's a fisher of men. So there's a lot in there, in that name. And so the fish are trying to break out. And so when they sent up these different mists of the isles to try to explode through it, to try to break through, similar to what Nimrod tried to do with the Tower of Babel, trying to break through the firmament, they named them all after fish. So these are like fish that are trying to escape the firmament. So you got the bluegill. They're trying to escape the earth. And the starfish, I thought that was appropriate because Satan was like a star who fell from heaven, like lightning from heaven. And it's like trying to get back into heaven. So you got starfish prime, bluegill prime, etc., bluegill double prime, and so forth. Checkmate. I thought that was interesting. They called one checkmate. Like they're finally going to try to put God in check, which is what Satan tried to do. Bluegill triple prime. Kingfish, they want to be king. Satan wants to be the king, and so forth. Tightrope. So I just thought this was kind of interesting because they're showing this in a commercial that has nothing to do with it, obviously. But what I thought about this when they went to the water is that actually that is what they believe about the firmament. They believe that it actually connects with the waters that are under the earth. So like in the book of Genesis, when there was the flood, the great springs of the deep burst forth and the water came out of the deep. So as much as they go up to try to break through, they may also be going down in the water to try to break through as well, to try to find another way around into the firmament, so they can get into the water level of the firmament and make their way up that way. So so I just found that kind of intriguing, and wanted to share that with you. And there you go. Any questions on that? You guys are kind of quiet tonight. You guys are live out there? Can you still hear me?
Well,
Yeah. We're trying to answer questions.
Oh, you're answering questions? Okay. Well, if you have any questions from the YouTube, just send them my way. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. I know it's not exactly, I mean, it's always kind of ties into what we're talking about, but yeah, sort of a timeless one there, I guess, that's of what's going on. But they recently did that commercial, so I thought that was kind of intriguing. Other thoughts? Other questions? Anything else you want me to talk about? I'll just keep going here. Okay. So anyway, so we've got Mr. T did this skit in 2004 that was kind of interesting, The Prince and the Pauper. And basically, if you know the story of The Prince and the Pauper, basically they trade places. You know, the prince becomes the pauper becomes the prince, and they each live in each other's life for a while. There's been a lot of movies like that, like, you know, Freaky Friday, or, you know, 18 Again, and, you know, movies like that where they trade places with each other, right? And that's usually like father-son and mother-daughter type of thing. But this is kind of like changing roles in life, like Trading Places, like the movie Trading Places. If you've ever seen that movie a little bit, kind of ties into that. But the whole idea is that Mr. T, and it's actually played by Mr. T here, takes the role of the prince, and then the prince takes the role of the pauper. But when they trade places, Mr. T has the pauper eliminated in a violent way, and he says, you know, something like, "It's good to be the prince." And I just thought that was interesting. Is this a connection to the Dark Prince, the Antichrist? Is there any connection to, you know, him being the prince that is to come, as it talks about? There's the Messiah prince, but then we also have another ruler or prince that comes in Daniel 9. And is there any connection with that? So wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay. Feel free to jump in anytime. All right. So then you've got ETs, supposedly, and we talked a little bit about that. The Congress. Here's the Congress article that you mentioned earlier. So they presented in Mexico's Congress some carcasses, supposedly, of these aliens.
yeah.
So okay, so Ed McMahon, was he with the Publishers Clearinghouse, or was he with American Family Publishing or something like this? Anybody?
Yeah, he was. They say he wasn't, but he was.
Yeah, kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
Was he with both? Maybe he was with both of them. I mean, I distinctly remember getting these things in the mail, and I thought, sure, it was Ed McMahon.
Publishers Clearinghouse.
Publishers Clearinghouse, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So he denies
I
it.
watched
He's
a lot
been in
of
some
TV. Publishers Clearinghouse.
right. So
Yes.
he's been in some interviews lately denying that fact and saying that it's American Family Publishers, and then we see these pictures and we go, well, maybe, but
no, maybe.
Liars.
But wouldn't we know the name of American? Because I don't even know the name of this company. Like, that doesn't ring a bell. American Family Publishers. I mean, maybe vaguely. I don't know. I never remember hearing that. I always heard Publishers Clearinghouse. So if it wasn't him, then who's representing Publishers Clearinghouse? That would be in my head. Why would that name be in my head if it wasn't him? And we always associate him with that company, and coming to your door and giving you a big check, right? So
Yep.
It's very strange. Like, why would that be in your head? Why would you even know the name of that company? Because if it wasn't him, then who represented it that got it into my head that I would even think about it at all? In fact, I even remember filling that out one time, I think, as a young college student. I'm like, I'm going to fill this out. I think I ordered some magazines or something from it. Man, I thought, sure, it was Ed McMahon on the cover of that thing when I was doing that. So, yeah, interesting. Mandela effect. The Mandela effect. But this kind of looks familiar too, so I'm kind of confused myself. I don't really know what to think. It's very strange.
Yeah.
But you know,
It is strange.
the whole thing with the Mandela effect is they're trying to get you to question your own reality, so then they can tell you bigger things, and they can make big things go away. If they can make little things disappear, and you go like, well, maybe you're right, maybe it wasn't that, then it's very easy to get you to believe anything they tell you from there. So
brainwashing,
yeah, something to think about there. But he was on an interview recently, and they also said that he didn't deliver checks, but he actually said he did in the interview, that he did deliver checks to people's doors and gave over $110 million, and said that it was this company and not the other company. He said that was their competitor. But then why would we know about that company and not this company? So it just doesn't seem to add up. And then
before you move on, there's a Candace in the YouTube chat was wondering about the lining of, what is she saying? Planets on 311.
Yeah. On 311?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we talked about the last time, the aligning of the planets with the eclipse, but it does start on March. It starts in March. Let's see. Aligning planets. And the planetary alignment is a term used in astronomy. This event may also be a planetary parade. The next alignment for 4 planets is on April 4th of 2024. But you're saying it starts on March 11th?
Oh, wait, she's saying why 8? Oh, why 8 planets?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Planetary
she
alignment.
might be questioning 311. I don't know if she was certain of that, but definitely 8 are in alignment.
Okay. Let's take a look here.
Yeah.
Says Mars and Saturn, April 4th. The next planetary alignment takes place April 4th, 2024, which is 4 days before the eclipse. But, it'll still be there for the eclipse as well. They're showing up early. They're getting early seats for the,
Oh.
If this connects with Jesus' return, maybe they're coming, the Bible talks about the planets aligning for God. They align for Him. So maybe they're coming together to witness the return of Christ. It will feature 4 planets: Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and Mars. The planets will align in the morning sky. Venus, Saturn, and Mars will be visible to the naked eye, but you'll need a telescope or high-powered binoculars to see Neptune. Let's take a closer look at the conditions. Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Venus. So they're saying 4 planets, but...
And then it says that Ray is saying that the sun is included in the 8.
The sun, okay. Right. Maybe the moon as well?
Maybe.
Okay. Interesting. Choose the right time to see the planets. Sky Tonight app. Make sure you're looking at the planets and not the stars. Okay. So that's intriguing. Let's see. Let me go back here and see if there's more. Planetary alignment, March 2024. Oh yeah, this is more. Not quite as scientific. Night sky, March 2024. What you can see tonight. Find out what's up in the sky during March 24. See it in the space. Okay. March 3rd.
Oh yeah.
March
she said the moon
3rd.
Also. Yeah.
March 4th, the spectacular Orion Nebula. March 7th, old moon visits pre-dawn planets. March 8th, Mars, Moon, and Venus triangle. We got a triangle going on there. March 10th, daylight savings time. March 10. Okay. Well, that's interesting. What planet is next in the moon tonight? So planets align.
Oh, Ray says there are 8 planets in alignment, but in 3 different groups. Okay.
Okay, so planets align 2024. The next planetary alignment takes place April 4th. Venus, Neptune, Saturn, Mars. And what are the other 4 that are in there?
They're saying moon, sun, and I don't know what else.
Moon, sun, so that's 6. So maybe there's 2 more in there. Planet alignment for 2024. Is this the same one we just looked at? Looks like the same one. So when all planets come in a straight line? January 27? No. What is the next date all 8 planets will align? May 6, 2492 is what it says. Okay.
92. Oh my gosh. 2492.
So I found this pretty interesting.
Okay.
It says the number 7 is an occurring numerical theme in the Hebrew scriptures. The menorah's 7 lamps on 4 branches corresponds to the lights of the 7 classic planets: the moon, Mercury, Venus, the sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So the menorah is tied to the planets too. Wow.
Right, because we've got 7 lights in the menorah. At least the regular one, right? And then we have the Hanukkah one, which is 8. So planets in 2024. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus. Well, we've got the morning star, the bright morning star in there as well, which is usually Venus, I guess, that they consider to be, or Jupiter. There's some debate there, I guess. But morning planet, Venus. And then morning planet, Mercury. Morning planet, Mars. Jupiter, evening. Okay, well, that's interesting. So, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so that'll be right around the same time as the eclipse. So that's something to be watching for there. Let's keep our eyes peeled for that one. And let's see. What else here? Oh, yeah. Star Wars. So these drones, they've made drones that actually fly. So this drone rolls and flies. You can see it flying there. So you see it flies into the sky here. So it can fly and it can roll. So basically they can hunt you down with these drones now. Just in time for Christmas. And rolling and flying. It does it all. It uses the gyroscope kind of technology there. So that's interesting. So Star Wars is real. And then there's this. That is what it is, I guess. And then they've they're not happy until they destroy everything from your childhood, so they have to destroy Bert and Ernie and Big Bird too. But anyway, so other thoughts or comments, other topics to touch on. So just looking
that
at
drone.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that drone reminded me of from Ezekiel, with the eyes. The wheel with the eyes.
Right, the wheel in the middle of the wheel, right? Yeah, totally. Totally looks like it's right out of the book of Ezekiel, how they describe angels too, with all the eyes on them. So, wow, is there some
counterfeit version?
Yeah, the counterfeit angel.
Mm.
Maybe they'll pair this up with some of the project of the blue of the beam and try to fake us out, make us think these are angels talking to us. It's an interesting thought. I was just thinking of taking a quick look at the calendar here. So it's April. Let's see. We're going into April 8th, which we obviously know is the first day of, or the last day of Adar and the first day of the year, first of Nisan. And we talked before about the 40 days leading up to May 18th, which on the Christian calendar is Pentecost. So that's also intriguing. So there may be something to consider there, some interesting connections there. But where are we at right now? So right now we're here in March. So we're just a few weeks out. In terms of this week, I don't know if anything interesting is coming up here on this weekend. Let's see what this is. He assembled. Opens as God commands the Israelites to observe the Sabbath. That's interesting. And this one's Sabbath of shekels. Oh yeah, we talked about that before, the shekel Sabbaths. And so that's interesting. Okay. So got Yom Kippur Katan. So we're coming to the end of Adar 1, and Adar 2 is going to start next week. So just something to think about there. Going into the last month. Some believe this is the month of Esther. Some believe it's the next month is the month of Esther. That's where they're going to be celebrating Purim on the calendar. So that's something to also think about. It's the last month before the new year starts. Well, cool, guys. This was a good discussion tonight. Any other thoughts or comments or anything that people want to share?
So Becky brought up another point. She said they changed the words to the mamas and the papas to say when I get down on my knees. When I get down on my knees and pretend to pray. What were the original?
Oh, okay. Got down on my knees and pretend to pray. That time wasn't a lay. All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray. Okay, so let's see here.
When the sky is gray.
I went for a walk on a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA. I went to a church, stopped along the way, got down on my knees, and I began to pray. So you're saying they changed it to I pretend to pray?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, they've changed it to pretend to pray?
Yeah.
Or from pretend to pray? Like...
No.
Because the words are began, right? Originally?
Yeah, I began to pray. I think that's what he says.
No,
yeah, but who changed it? Because they're all dead except for Mr. Phillips.
And
I don't know.
You're coming in and out there, Louis. I began to pray. I began to pray. Yeah, because they repeat it there. So what's changed? Did they ever change the recording?
I don't know. Maybe so.
So I guess we all got to go watch Mamas and Papas now. You know, they might just start putting this stuff out just to get you to listen to their music again. You know, it's like, and then they shoot up 1 million views just for people who want to know if they say began to pray. But that's interesting. Interesting thought.
Kyle?
They're Mandelaing us. Yes.
Kyle?
Yes, Wes.
Treasure on 25 just asked a question, and they said, do you have any videos on Satan's Little Season?
Satan's Little Seed?
Season.
Satan's Little Season. And did I bring up the Has-Been Hotel last week? Did I do that already? Did I mention that?
I feel like you did.
I feel like I did, right? But I just can't remember if I did it in our conversation or if I did it last week. But because there's a new satanic show on Prime called Has-Been Hotel, and
for real.
I don't think I brought it up. I'm not sure that I did bring it up yet. I
don't think you did in the live.
This is news to me.
Okay. So is he talking about Satan's seat, like the seat of the synagogue of Satan? Is that what he's talking about, or the question?
He said season.
Satan's season.
Satan's little season.
That sounds like something you know, if cooking with Satan or something. Satan's little seasoning. But Satan's little season. I'm not.
Isn't that with Danny DeVito, and he has he plays a devil, and he has a daughter with some human woman.
Oh, really? Is that a movie? Satan's Little Season?
It's a series. Yeah.
Oh. There's Satan's Little Helper. Satan's Little Season?
There's Satan's Little...
So, okay, well, there's... So is he referring... There's lots of things it could be referring to, I guess. So that's why I'm trying to narrow it down. But there's talking about the season of 1,000 years... or the season.
Maybe that's what he's talking about.
I don't know.
Revelation.
Where he gets let out for a short time. He kind of has his time is short. Revelation 12, his time is short. Maybe that's what you're talking about, like his short season. Yeah, that's a whole study in and of itself. But I'm not sure what his question is about it. But yes.
Yeah, I think
it does exist. It's in the Bible.
I think that's what he's wanting is like a study on it.
That's a great study. Oh, I see. He's looking for a video on that. There probably are sometimes I talk about it. I don't know if I've done one just on that, but it's a good one to do something on. But I think I discuss it in different videos about the rapture. Maybe look at the gathering video. But there's probably some videos where I talk about that. But what was I going to share with you? Oh, I want to share this with you. And I don't recommend that you watch it because it's pretty disgusting. But as you know, Nutflakes came out with their own satanic show a while back about the devil having an offspring or something like that. Well, not to be outdone, I guess. What's that?
I think that's the one I think that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, it's called like Satan's Little Angel or something, or what's it called? Little Devil?
Little Demon.
Satan's Little Demon. Little Demon.
Yeah.
So, well, well, Prime, not to be outdone, which sadly has joined the fray, and they come out with Has Been Hotel. And basically, it's a hotel in hell. So kind of like we had Hotel Transylvania. Well, they've taken it to the next level. So now it's Hotel in Hell. And there's a video that if you can, that I wanted to share with you. I'm surprised I didn't share this already, but I guess I was thinking about sharing it this weekend. I probably found it last week, and I thought I'd already shared it. But basically, let me see if I can see it here. And I'm gonna show it. See if I can find what I'm looking for. But basically, the actual show is very crass. I'm not recommending you watch it at all. Obviously, but there's an origin story that they give. Let's see, origin story. And basically what they do in that story is they paint Satan in this really positive light. And I'm not sure which one is it this one? The back? Oh, I think it's this one. Maybe How It Began. Yeah. So if you want to watch anything, watch this one, because I don't think there's any profanity or anything obscene other than the story itself about Satan being a hero versus a villain. But that's about as obscene as this gets. But basically what happens in this story is, and I could just read it to you. I think they even have it. Okay, so let me read this to you, and we'll kind of close out with this. Okay, and then if you guys want to come join us in the fellowship, we'll be here hanging out and talking. There's a lot of people here, so it'd be great to come join us and be part of the fun. So, but let me read this to you. Okay, so this is the story that they give in this show about Lucifer. Okay, so they say once upon a time, and I'm not going to play it but I'll just go through that. It says, once upon a time, there was a glowing city. Okay, so they're talking about heaven. And it was protected by golden gates. And it was known as heaven. It's still known as heaven, by the way. And it was ruled by beings of pure light. Amen. It was ruled by beings of pure light. So they know the truth about God and heaven, right? But they're trying to twist it to make the devil the hero here. So what's it? Ruled by beings of pure light. Angels that worship good and shielded all from evil. Amen. Okay. Now notice the angels that they have here are the angels that are described in the Bible. So they know what the Bible is talking about in terms of, Ezekiel, the wheel and the eyes and so forth. So Satan knows the Bible. He just doesn't want to follow it. Okay. So, all right, let's keep going here. Lucifer was one of these angels. And they show Lucifer with like 6 wings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He was a dreamer. Okay, so they paint him as a dreamer, not as a rebel, not as evil and wicked, but they paint him, he was just misunderstood. He's just a dreamer. So this is how Satanists want to look at this. He was a dreamer. It's kind of like the after-school Satan club. This is kind of what they want to teach kids. He was a dreamer. And kids are like, well, I'm a dreamer, right? So they want to associate with fantastical ideas for all of creation. Okay. Yes, he had fantastical ideas, all right. I mean, you can see all those wicked ideas being carried out in our world today. And not ideas we want to be part of. But anyway, so that's him. It says, but he was seen as a troublemaker. Yeah, because he was a troublemaker. He rebelled against God. He doesn't want to do good. He wants to do evil. By the elders of heaven. For they felt his way of thinking. So now it's his way of thinking. See, it's like this whole idea that there's my truth versus your truth, right? Well, that's just the way you're thinking. His way of thinking was dangerous to the order of their world, right? So they're kind of made out to be like they're just not understanding. They're not very accepting, right? So he watched as the angels began to expand the universe in their ways. From the dust of earth, they created man and woman. Oh no, Adam and Lilith. Okay, so they're changing the Bible now too. They're adding Lilith in rather than Eve, right? So they created Adam and Lilith, and equals as the first of mankind, and they're also saying that they're equals. So they're changing the Bible. They're changing, even saying what what they did, what God actually did, versus Adam made, and then the woman made from Adam's side as, a suitable helper for him. But despite this, Adam demanded control, which is also not true, right? That's not in the Bible. In fact, Adam should have been in more control. He was not he was being a derelict, not really leading the way there in the garden. And Lilith refused to submit to his will, right? Woman power, right? It's the Jezebels. Okay, here we go. And Lilith refused to submit to his power, okay? So she's like, talk to the hand. So she fled the garden. So this is all made up, okay? This is not in the Bible. And this is a story they're making up. She fled the garden, which that also didn't happen. And supposedly, drawn in by her fierce independence. Oh, let's see. Drawn in by her fierce independence. She fled the garden. Okay. Drawn in by her fierce independence. And hey, who comes along? It's Lucifer. It says, and the two rebellious dreamers, because that's all they really are, right, guys? They're not evil and wicked. They're not leading everybody into sin. They're just rebellious dreamers, right? That's the whole idea of watering down sin, right? This is where we're at as a society, where we're putting out satanic shows, making the devil the hero, and they were just two rebellious dreamers. They fell deeply in love together, right? Sure, they're the heroes of the story, not God. Fell deeply in love together, okay? And they wish to share the magic of free will with humans. Okay, well, there's no magic to free will, guys. God gave us all free will, right? And we're all made in the image of God with freedom, the ability to choose right and wrong. And it's for freedom that Christ set us free. And if the Son has set you free, you are free indeed. So this is a lie from the devil. But that's what he was trying to convince Eve of. Like, oh, you're going to know good and evil, right? And it kind of led her astray that way. But this whole story never happened. So they wish to share the magic of their free will with humanity. Okay? It says, offering the fruit of knowledge to Adam's new bride, Eve. So Lucifer's a player here. He's going from Lilith to Eve now. Okay. So, again, not in the Bible. Although this part is kind of in the Bible, where the serpent comes to tempt Eve or get her to eat from the tree. So not exactly how it's depicted here, but similar. Okay. And who gladly accepted, so she did eat from the tree. That is in the Bible. But this gift came with a curse. And that is true, because God says anyone who eats from that tree would be cursed. So that is true. And God warned them of that, not to eat from that tree, but she did it anyway, because that was the test. For with this single act of disobedience, because God was testing them there in the garden, evil finally found its way into earth. Aha. So they acknowledge that it's evil. This dreamer is dreaming of evil things, not of good things, and they acknowledge that he brought evil into the world. So that's definitely true in the sense that it came through that act of Adam and Eve rebelling there or disobeying God. With it, a new realm of darkness and sin. Okay. And the order heaven had worked to maintain was shattered. As punishment for their reckless act, heaven cast Lucifer and his love, i.e. Lilith, into the dark pit he had created, never allowing him to see the good that came from humanity. Not the good that comes from God, right? And man in his sinful nature, who rebels against God. Wow. But isn't this kind of how, this is our modern world today, right? This is people justifying sin, justifying wickedness. Really interesting here. Allowing him to see the good that came from humanity. Boy, sounds so convincing, doesn't it? Right, yeah, that's how Satan is. He's good at convincing you. So even who wrote this in a very convincing satanic way. Only the cruel and the wicked, ashamed Lucifer, lost his will to dream. Yeah, Oh no, he's still dreaming and scheming. That's all he does, the devil schemes. But Lilith thrived, empowering demonkind with her voice and her songs. Okay. And her songs. Interesting how they point out the music. Satan's always associated with the music there. Yeah, that's interesting. Hey, Wes, can you mute that mic there, buddy? Let's see. So, and the songs, empowering a demon kind with her voice and her songs. Right. So she's an enchantress, kind of like the sirens, like the singing mermaids who lead the pirates to their death. And so did its power. Threatened by this, heaven made a truly heartless decision. Oh, it was heaven's fault, right? Heaven was the heartless one, not the devil and his evil, right? How they twisted around. Okay, truly heartless decision. They would send down an army and extermination to ensure hell and its sinners. And they make hell out to be like, this has-been hotel, like you can live in hell. I mean, hell is going to just be like a fire where everybody's just, burning in torment. It's not going to be a place of hanging out and having fun or anything like that. So extermination to ensure hell and its sinners could never rise against them. And there it is. But Lilith's hope remained. Oh, she has hope, really, in all this darkness. Funny, because hope comes from God and the light. And her dream was passed down to their precious... Oh, so now they're allowed to have offspring, too? That's not true either. That's unbiblical. Daughter, the princess of hell. So her daughter, Lilith's daughter, is supposedly the princess of hell. And that is who this show is now based around, is this princess of hell, the offspring of Lucifer and Lilith. So there you go, guys. Just want to let you know how the world is going to hell in a handbasket, literally right in front of you. And they're taking all the shows you treasured, like Sesame Street, and corrupting it, making what was pure impure. And they're celebrating what is dark and evil as something wonderful and hopeful. How hopeful is this, to be living in the bowels of hell? There's no hope, guys. When you go to hell, it's done. There's not going to be any offspring. You're not going to be having families. There's not going to be any homes. It's not going to be another life. You're going to be dead. It'll be eternal torment, the lake of fire, but it is called the second death. So odds are everyone's going to be extinguished at some point, it would seem, based on the fact that God uses the term death and not just eternal punishment. There is eternal punishment as well. For some, it does talk about that with the devil and the beast and the false prophet. But we don't know if that's going to apply to all humans. Could be eternal punishment. Could just be enough punishment to pay for your sins, since you didn't accept Jesus' payment of your sins. And then you may be extinguished at that point. I don't know. That's in God's hands. It's not explicitly stated, but it's definitely not going to be a place of joy and fun and making a life for yourself in hell, despite popular belief. So my recommendation is repent and turn to the Lord and be saved. Repent and be born again of water and the Spirit so you can be saved and enter heaven. That's what Jesus taught us to do. And we help people do that in this ministry. So we hope you won't go the way of Lucifer and Lilith in that false story. And instead you'll come over to this fellowship and become a disciple of Christ and help other people come to Christ, because that's where the real hope is. That's where the real joy is. That's where the real love is. So we hope you'll join us here in the fellowship. There's several of us here now. We hope you'll come over and join us and be part of the conversation. We'd love to have you with us. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube version of this video, or portion, I should say, of this video. And we'll continue here in the fellowship. But thanks so much, guys, for being with us. And come over here at MacayOMinistries.com. If you could help support this ministry as well, we need your support to do what we do here. And you can find links in the description to do that and here in the ministry. Wishing you all the best and all the blessed. Maranatha.